Greetings, my citizens of the world. I'm Yes Renault, and today we are talking about human. I don't know why I made it sound like that, but basically today we are talking about Meghan Markle and the interview she did with Oprah. It's interesting because at first I thought this was gonna be like a dinky little interview where she barely spills any tea at all, but you know, basically the last time this much tea was spilled in America, like, there was a revolution. I can't claim that one. I stole that from a YouTube comment. So basically she was saying stuff like how the tabloids were just ripping her to shreds and she wasn't able to have a voice at all when she was in the royal family. Basically there were stories written about her making Kate Middleton cry when really it was the exact opposite and she couldn't say anything at all. And then how there were also talks within the royal household about like what color Archie's skin might be when he was born. And then, you know, she also talked about having like potentially suicidal thoughts. You guys, when I heard that part, I'm literally bawling, just bawling. And so this was just bomb after bomb after bomb. And so, like, no kidding, the whole world's been talking about it for a while, right? So one thing that the media has been saying is basically that it's very split, right, between how this interview's been received in America versus the UK. So in America, basically, most people are like Team Meghan, but in the UK, it's split 50-50. You know, some people are like, why would she, you know, disgrace the royal family at a time like this when Prince Philip is in hospital? And, you know, other people being like, it's so great that she shared her truth. And I think that's very telling. Okay, to give them each both bad names, I view the royal family's approach to dealing with problems as kind of like keeping a toxic peacefulness, or like a peaceful toxicity, versus Meghan Markle's approach is maybe like the PC, share it all, but try to be glossy on top. So they're the bad ways of describing each of them. Okay, but kind of the way that I see them in my mind is like the royal family's approach is like a family that never talks about its issues versus Meghan Markle's approach, which is like, hello, these are our issues, let's talk about them and address them head on, right? And there are a lot of reasons she gave in the interview about why like trying to do the private approach to that wasn't working and why they did go public. But Meghan Markle's approach, the way I see it, is very much like the new age way. It's where I feel like a lot of people are going. And actually when you look in England for how it's split, not just along the lines of favoring, not favoring, but along age lines, a ton of young people support Meghan Markle's side. It's like overwhelmingly positive when it comes to the youth. And so it's just got me very excited that this is our way of dealing with problems now, which is kind of, we just like say them, we get them out in the open, and we don't like call anybody names for doing them. We say like, I want to fix this. This happened. It doesn't mean anybody's a bad person, but I want to fix this. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying go and air your dirty laundry with everyone, because like, first of all, we are all not as relevant as like the Duchess of Sussex is, right? But second of all, like, I'm sure most problems can be solved privately. But what I'm saying is this new age way of dealing with issues, this like, I have a problem, let me say it out loud and let's deal with it. I think that's a very healthy way to deal with problems. Because there's this guy I watch a lot, so he's called Gabor Mate. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but he does a lot of work with trauma. And basically what he says is like, you know, events can be traumatic, sure, but the real trauma of a situation is when we don't discuss the event, right? And he basically talks about how when you shove down your feelings, they can result in these, I want to use the word manifestation, but they can essentially like flip certain things within your gene sequence to make you more likely to get certain illnesses or potentially cancers. And so isn't that fascinating that the real trauma isn't so much the experience, it's the shoving down of our feelings and not being able to deal with them. And so isn't it interesting that we just had someone get on TV in front of an audience of more than 50 million worldwide, by the way, on the first day, and share her experiences and promote talking about things in an honest way, even when you might be ashamed of them, even when you might be like depressed or have certain thoughts. Okay, so I know this video is about like, you know, what nobody noticed, but her best friend did notice it, by the way. Like, I will give credit, her best friend is the one person who's really echoed this, who she's like, I feel like this is like a new age. She kept saying that. She kept repeating it in an interview. And she's like, where we can tell the truth. And I echo that because it's very interesting when we like democratize media and we make it so anything can be public and we really share our lives online. We have like the whole world watching, and suddenly we have to be more accountable. And being more accountable usually causes us to be better versions of ourselves, which usually requires having to deal with our issues as soon as they come up. Because you can't hide anymore. You can't hide when everybody's got a camera, when everybody's got a voice, and when everybody's learning how to use it. And I think it's very telling that like a lot of the people who supported Meghan are a lot of very powerful, strong female women. So for example, like Serena Williams or Beyonce, right, who very much support women having a voice. Meghan is such a good role model in general too for all of us, to empower all of us to use our voices. And okay, so I know a lot of people thought it was cheesy when Meghan made that comparison between her and the Little Mermaid. You know, falls in love with a prince, has to lose her voice to be with him, and then finally at the end gets her voice back. But it's actually so powerful because it's like, there's something so fundamental about your voice that to have it taken away is to like, yeah, it's to lose your power, essentially. And so I am so glad that she gave that interview because it's empowering all of us now to use our voices to speak out about stuff that we don't see as being right in this world or in our own lives or within our own families. What I'm gonna be very interested in seeing is the overcorrection of feelings though in the future, and maybe that's a different topic for a different day. But when people start feeling like, you know, you're having a truth means it's the truth, that's gonna be very interesting to see, and maybe that's already happening a bit with like PC culture, and maybe that's a bit why there's a lot of pushback. But that's something that we'll have to like figure out. And like obviously one thing I get super annoyed at is people who write in the comments like, if they wanted privacy, they should have made their whole life public, blah, 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 blah. Because, you know, privacy basically just means the right to share which part of your life you want to and which parts you don't want to. Long story short, I just feel very empowered to speak when I see something that isn't right. And I just see more and more people heading in that direction. And I think it's a really, really good direction to address problems and not sweep them under the rug. It might make for good television when you're watching The Crown, but who wants to live a soap opera life? Or I'd rather live like a calm, peaceful life that nobody's writing about. And then watch and leave soap operas for the TV. Alright, anywho, that's all. I'm Yes or No. Let's try and make me as rich as the royal family by donating to my Patreon. Or go and watch more of my videos. See you guys.